Hello everybody and welcome back. I am taking part in the Rach and Bella's Best of British YouTube collaboration. This collaboration is running from the 12th of September to the 10th of October, where different UK creators are buddying up and recreating each other's projects to help them bring views and awareness to British crafters. So today I am recreating a project from the wonderful Rachel herself from Rach and Bella Crafts. And they'll be recreating one of mine. The papers that I'm using are from Rach and Bella Crafts. You can find them on their website, which will be linked down below. The kit is called Whispers of the Manor. As usual, there's add-ons, there's also freebies. So yeah, make sure that you head on over and get those. It's currently 40% off, so do check it out if you'd like to craft along. I'd love for you to try this project as well yourself. It definitely looks like a really good one, and share what you make using the hashtag BestOfBritsJJ. Don't forget to head over to Rachel's channel because she's also, like I said, going to be recreating something of mine. So go and check out her video as well. I will again have her channel linked down below. And of course, as I said, this is running between the 12th of September to the 10th of October. And each day there are different crafters doing the same thing. So make sure you go and check out all of the other UK creators that are taking part. Thank you so much for watching. Let's get into the video. So as I said, I'm recreating something from Rachel's channel. And this was a hard one, and it did take me a long time to kind of go through her videos because, as we know, all of her videos are absolutely fabulous. There's so much inspiration to be had on the Rach and Bella Crafts channel. So, like I said, I did have a trawl through and I tried to find one that I thought really kind of popped out to me. And there's one that I really liked. She used old envelopes and I think she used some old scrapbooking paper as well, and then just covered it up with her papers. So I do have an old envelope. My husband's very good because he knows I like to reuse envelopes. He now, even when he's giving me like a birthday card or whatever, he never writes my name on it so that I have a blank envelope to work with. It is a little bit dog-eared, it is a bit bent in the corner, but that's fine. You can, for this project, use any size envelope you like. I have printed off some of the pages. So there was a page that had different tags on. So I've already printed those off and cut those out already. I've got this page here, which I believe is a freebie. But like I said, if you head over to the website, it will be linked down below. You'll kind of see exactly what the kits are, what the freebies are. But I believe this is a freebie page. And I really liked this because it does have obviously the British elements on, which is really great for this collaboration. And then these other pages, I believe, are from either the kit or the add-on. So I've got this page here. Really love a good collage page. And as always, from Rach and Bella, the kits are always absolutely gorgeous. Lots of lovely florals. So I've got that page as well. I've got this one with lots of sort of soft colours on it. And I think this one's probably my favourite. Really love this one. So we are going to create some kind of happy mail folio, possibly it might be called. So you're going to have your envelope on one side, and then you're going to have a piece that opens up and creates a folio on the other side. It is a great way to use up old envelopes. And I think, like I said, Rach also used up some scrapbook paper as well. So what I'm going to do is cover the back end, and I want to fold over what is left. So I'm not going to cut anything off. And when I was holding this up, I thought this is absolutely perfect because it literally is where that divides with those two collaged pieces. So I am going to fold that over. I do obviously need to trim off a bit at the top, but then actually, how big's this? Oh, see, it's just going to be just under, but that's fine. I might tweak that. So what I might do is literally glue this envelope down as it is. But because I want to keep this flap, I do want to cut along here. So let's just quickly make those markings. Let's grab a ruler. I'm just going to, like I said, line up this envelope with the paper. And I'm just going to line it up along the top of the envelope. And then I'm going to draw a line along there because I want to be able to cut along there. I am going to do the same. Actually, I might just be able to use the edge of the envelope. I'm just going to do the same along here because obviously this is where I want to score. And then, like I said, I'm just going to glue the whole envelope down. So, actually, before I do that, because this is going to fold over, I'm going to need a flap on this side as well. So let me just have a look at what I want to kind of meet up with this one. So we've got that section. I mean, I quite like this because again we've got the blues, so that's quite a nice one. This one obviously has some blues in as well. Could use that. Right, let me just move that one. So if that is going to fold roughly where that piece is, then I'm going to want this one about here, which is roughly where the edge of that stalk is. So I think I'm going to get my scoreboard and I'm just going to get the bends right first and then I'll start sticking things down. So let's just bring in my big scoreboard first. Just going to spin that round. Now obviously it doesn't matter exactly where I'm scoring, I just want to make sure that I'm scoring down that part there. Okay, so that's going to fold over like so. Okay, and what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to trim roughly where this bit is here, just so that I can stick this bit round the other side of the envelope rather than just having this on the edge. So I am going to cut a little bit off. So let me just, it's roughly there, isn't it? I'm going to use that score line as my guide to cut. Okay, so I'll save this bit because I might use this bit in a moment. Now obviously my envelope isn't this tall, so again I'm just going to mark, let's do it on the edge actually. I'm just going to mark with a pencil where it comes to. No, I've done it the wrong way round, hang on. Although does it matter? No, that's fine. Right, again, where I put that mark, I'm just going to do a score line just so I know where to cut. It's just easier than drawing it with a pencil. Okay, so I'm just going to make sure that fits. I probably just need to come just inside that score line. That's a bit better. Okay. Now I'm just going to check this side, because obviously this is now going to have to be trimmed along there. So it starts about here. And it's going to come up and round about there. obviously if it's not exact, it doesn't matter. That's the wonderful thing about junk journals. Oh, actually, that wasn't bad. That wasn't bad at all. That's very good for me, actually. So that's going to go on there like so. And then this one. Oh yeah, we was going to just stick the envelope down, wasn't we? Oops. Right, so again, I'm going to do some cutting here. So just where I've got that top bit, I am going to score all the way along there. And this again is where I'm going to cut. So it just always makes it easier, I think, than just trying to draw a line. And this is where it's going to fold, isn't it? So I actually want it this way round. Let's line it up with a 7. Oh, no, that was out, wasn't it? Let's try that again. That's better. Okay. That's going to go around there. And then those two meet. It doesn't matter if there's a little gap there. That's not an issue. Right. But that's essentially how it's going to look. And obviously where this now overlaps here, that hides what would be a gap on that side there. So all I'm going to do is cut in slightly here so that we can stick all of this down. It's just how far do I want to come in? Maybe just a little bit. So I might use, I'm going to use the envelope as a bit of a guide. Flip that over just because it's easier. And about there, I guess. Now I am just eyeballing it, and I'm just going to draw around the top of the envelope. And that's where I'm going to cut. So I am just going to round it slightly. So I'm just going to round it and then come in. And then I'll round it on this edge as well. Oh, that's not too bad. Not too bad. Right. Now I am going to do a little bit of inking. Inking is always optional. And I'm going to use good old vintage photo. So I do need this bit as well. Now I have got white on the other side. I actually don't mind the white. If it's something that you don't personally like, then obviously you can absolutely change it. Now I obviously don't need to ink here because you're not going to see that. That's going to be underneath. I'm just going to give it a little bit of an ink along that fold. And then for this one, just going to do a small ink on that edge because obviously that's where it's going to overlap onto the other piece anyway. Just do a bit more inking, bit on the fold again, And then obviously I want it on this side as well. Okay, so that's going to go on there. You're going to go on there. Yep, that looks good. And then you're going to come round. Now, this panel is going to get stuck down, but just at the top and at the bottom, and it's going to form a pocket. It's also going to be what keeps this panel closed. I'm going to have this opening up, and we're going to have pockets and things going on in here. So because this one is going to be opening up, I need something to be able to hold it closed. So I'm going to use a little bit of a tab here. Now I have got my pencil marks on the inside, so I'm just going to rub those out because obviously we don't want those. And like I said, I'm not fussed that it's white because obviously when I start sticking on some more bits for pockets and things, you're not really going to see any of that. So I'm not fussed at the moment. So for here, I then want a tab. Now obviously I've got lots of this left. So I might use, well, this kind of blends in, doesn't it? Because it's the same pattern there. So I'm going to use this. And I've got this punch. Which is clearly very creaky. Haven't used this in a while. Okay, so we've got that one. I'm going to fold this over. And give this a little bit of an ink. Now again, I don't necessarily need to ink on the back because you're not going to see it because it's obviously going to get stuck down like this. I'm just going to worry about the one side. Like so. And that's going to go on there. So let's glue that down. So obviously inked side on the front. So I want to go roughly for the middle. Whoops. Again, I'm not overly fussed if it's not exactly the middle. Okay, and then, as I said, this is going to be stuck down top and bottom. So I'm going to do that bit first. So I'm just going to put some glue along the top, some glue along the bottom, and then this is going to go on here. Okay, just making sure that I can still fold this over on the back. Okay, now I can glue this bit down. Now here I need to be careful because obviously this doesn't exactly line up with this shape. So what I'm going to do is add my glue to the envelope rather than this panel here. So going to come all the way along the edge because obviously this is going to be the important part that needs to be stuck down. And then I'm going to go all the way to the edge, all the way down the bottom. And obviously there is a bit of a gap this side, so I don't want to go all the way to the edge. I'm just going to try and line that up. Again, just flip it over because I want to make sure that obviously I can, oops, I can pull this open and over. That's it. And then the rest of it I can then push down. Now obviously this didn't go right to the edge, so now I can just lift this up and put that down that edge. Okay, and then everything else can get stuck down. Whoops. Without hopefully bending your envelope. Right, there we go. So we should still now be able to get in the envelope, which we can. Excellent. And on the back we have these panels. Now this one's obviously stuck top and bottom. Because this one isn't, I can tuck that under there and that's going to hold that bit closed. So we essentially have the bones of it done. So we've got an envelope. I might even keep the brown flap. I might perhaps just do something with it. I think I might want to cover the inside, but I'll come to the envelope in a moment. Let's focus on this bit. Right, I'm just going to move my board because we don't need that. So on the inside then we now have a pocket here. So I might make some journaling cards to go in there in a moment, but obviously we've now got these two panels. So I've got these two sheets. I've still got bits from this one that we can use. So these might make nice journaling cards actually, because they're a nice kind of square shape. So I'm thinking I might even make another fold out. Yeah, I might do that actually. So let's draw there. And I think I'm going to score there and then cut about there. See, there's me putting this away and I still need it. So I want to score here. And where's my mark? To about there. So if I turn it that way. There's my pencil mark. So about there. Like I said, I'm using the scoreboard just because I find it easier than drawing with a pencil. You can absolutely do this with a pencil if you wish. And then I want to come maybe ½ an inch to the side just so I can create a tab. Okay, and then I'm just going to follow those score lines. Going to go up at a slight angle. And go up at an angle. Oops. About there. Right. If we fold this over, then I'm thinking this can go on the inside here, and then we've got another fold out just so we've got more space to put more things. So let's get that glued down. Now obviously, because this is, the idea is kind of like a happy mail, I think this would make a great happy mail. Oops, don't want glue on there. You obviously don't want to make this too thick. And obviously where we want to be able to close it all up, again, you're not going to want to make it too thick. Oh, there's me gluing it. Haven't even inked anything yet. Always forget that. I always end up just getting too distracted. Happy sticking stuff down and then forget to actually ink. Right, so that's going to go about there. There we go. So now that we've got that, we can think about some pockets to put some of these lovely tags that we've got. Oh, found another one. And obviously we can make some more tags with these bits as well. Right, so for the inside, I'm thinking I kind of want to use some of these bits. So what could we do? See, I really like him with the word London. So do I make this like a side pocket? Or I could have it there and have it as a diagonal pocket, but I kind of want to hide that part really. So maybe I make him a diagonal pocket that way. So that's the edge. And that's the bottom. Whoops. Okay. Now I am just going to cut this roughly for a second, and then I'll neaten it up in a moment with my trimmer. Just because I'm being lazy now, I don't want to get my scoreboard. So I'm going to use my mini trimmer, and let's have a look. Let's trim there. And there. Right, and I want to make this a slanted pocket. I mean, I could make it a full pocket, couldn't I? And then just maybe have a little thumb notch. Or have a thumb notch here. And it's like a full side. No, I'm going to go with my original plan. So I'm going to cut from here to maybe where the top of this picture is. So all I'm going to do is where I've made those marks, I'm just going to line that up in my paper trimmer, like so. And then that's going to go there like that. So I'm just going to rub out my little pencil marks. Ink that. Yeah, like I said, it was very difficult trying to pick a video of Rachel's because obviously she has lots of fabulous videos. But this one did catch my eye. I've kind of made it a ephemera holder before. Or not, sorry, an ephemera holder, a Happy Mail project before. But this one I thought was a really lovely idea. I always love using envelopes. I have lots and lots of them, so if I can use any of them, that's always a bonus. Because like many of us, I do kind of save them up. And like I said, my husband is very sweet in that he knows not to ruin any envelopes, or even like when we get stuff in the post, he now doesn't tear things open. He does it very carefully, or just passes it straight to me so I can do it carefully, so the envelopes aren't completely ruined. Right, so that's one pocket. Like I said, I do want to cover this up. So I might make a pocket here with this one. So again, I'm going to trim it about there. And I don't want it quite that wide. So I'm just going to go as wide as the numbers, I think. So that's about 2¼ inches by the looks of things. And then that covers up that fold. And obviously we get then a nice side pocket. And I think I might cut a little notch out of that as well. So I'm going roughly for the middle. Doesn't matter if I'm not quite there. And I'm going to ink. Okay, it's going to go on there. And again, I'm just coming just inside the fold to make sure that it doesn't stop it from closing. But so far, this is what we've got. So that goes in there, that goes in there, and then that tucks under there. So it all still fits quite nicely. And obviously we've still got our envelope that side. Yeah, I'm loving this so far. Right. Let's keep having a little look-see then. So I think I want another pocket here, but I'm going to just do a normal bottom pocket. And it's as if it was made for it, wasn't it? Look at that. So it needs to come. Now I do have to be careful because obviously this is also a pocket. So what I might do is make a little slanted one. So one like this, but smaller. So that it slants down here. And that way it's not, hopefully, getting in the way of that one. So just seeing where I need to kind of cut this off. So about there, I think. Okay, and then I'm going to cut it so roughly where that bit is there, down to where do I want it coming down to? Maybe about down here. So it looks like that. Again, just give that a little ink. Okay, fabulous. Right, so while those bits are drying, I'm thinking I'm going to have a look at the other side, at the envelope side. Like I said, I like the brown envelope. I actually quite like that, so I'm not going to do anything to that, but I do want to change this. But I think I'm going to use book page for that. So I'm just going to pop away very quickly, grab some book page. Okay, so instead of book page, I actually found some music paper. So I'm going to use that instead. So the first thing I want to do is just trim it down a little bit. So I'm just going to fold it roughly. And then this is obviously the bit that we're going to tear. Okay, now for it to fit in here, I'm going to need to tear it again in a couple more places. So I'm just kind of looking where it is here on the music sheet. So if I cut it around there and around there, that should hopefully make it fit in the envelope. So I'm just going to use my ruler. Actually, let's use the other side. And there we go. So just going to test that this actually fits inside. Probably a bit too snug, so I am going to have to take a little bit off. Let's try that again. That's better. Straight in. So I want it in and down to the bottom. Okay, and then just checking that it is at the bottom. All I'm going to do is pull it forward as far as I can. So I'm just going to fold it over a little bit. I'm going to glue all of this. I'm not too worried about gluing down the back because it's gone right down to the bottom. So as soon as this flap's stuck, it's not going to kind of come forward. So I'm not too fussed about that. Because obviously if I'm putting big things in there, they're not going to get caught at the bottom underneath that piece of paper. So I'm now going to just glue along here, and then obviously I can trim around the envelope once I'm done. So just making sure that that edge is nice and glued. There we go. Like so. Right, then from the back, I am just going to trim. Okay, and now that I've got that, just going to make sure that this all folds over nicely. Obviously it's going to be a bit thicker now because we've got the paper behind there as well. Excellent. And I'm just going to give that a slight ink around the edge as well. Lovely. Right, so we've got the envelope on the back. Let's come back to this now that this has dried. So now we can kind of come in with some of these bits here. So I'm going to pick ones that I think go quite nicely. That's a really nice one that can go in there. Do love the blues. That goes really nicely. And no, I think I prefer this one. So I'm going to have that in there. So I'm going to have those 3 tags in there. Now I'm just going to move them over slightly because, as I said, I want to slide something in here. And then I've got something for those 2 pockets, and then obviously I need something for the very, very back. So I've still got these parts. So I've still got 2 full pages there, so they're going to make really good journaling cards. Let's see what we can make out of these. So I need something to go in here. See, I like the mini, I like the crown. How big is this envelope? So I could make a nice big journaling card that goes in the envelope, couldn't I? So if I trim it there and there, I've got a nice big envelope. So I'm going to trim it roughly first. And then I can see if my trimmer, if it will fit in here to do it a bit neater. No, I think it's going to be too big, isn't it? Right, I'm going to have to get my other trimmer out. Thankfully I have lots of different sizes. Right, let's try this one then. Okay, now I do want it around the corners. I don't want just a great big journaling card like that. And give it an ink. Okay, a little bit on the back. Okay, so that's one for the envelope. So let's pop that in. Wonderful, so that goes in there. Oh, she says. There we go. So that one goes in there. Right, so on this side, we need some smaller ones. So I need one to go in here, one to go in here, and one in that one. Well, I could have a couple in there, couldn't I? See, that's a good size. So we could have maybe one in there. So we're just going to trim that bit off. Oh, that doesn't help. Hang on. Let's just cut up there a little bit. So about there. Again, I'm going to round the corners. That's one thing I do love about collage papers is that you don't necessarily need a journaling kit that has you don't need a journaling kit that has all of the elements. If you just buy a kind of backgrounds page kit, you can use the background pages to create your ephemera. Okay, obviously where I've got my glue, I didn't take that into account, so I'm going to have to actually trim this down a little bit more. Take a little bit off the bottom, a little bit off the side, re-round those corners. Oops. And re-ink. Although I probably should check that it fits before I start re-inking, but I've done it now. Let's check. Oops. Yep, so that fits perfectly now. Right, wonderful. Oh man, I'm getting some ink on this, which is really annoying. Never mind. Never mind. Right, okay, so what else? Could probably fit one of those in there. So I'm going to chop that off. Where that kind of finishes. Again, going to round those corners. Is that straight? Nope, didn't think it was. That's better. Right, going to round those corners. Another one there. Okay, so we've got two in that one. Oops. Two in that one. Right, so I need one for this one for this one over here. What else have we got? So I've got these ones. Let's have a look. I mean, they're both beautiful, aren't they? Right. I want that T bit. I like that T. Is that going to fit? Maybe just about. So cut down here. And this away. And up here. Right. Obviously that was just a rough cutting out. I am going to neaten that up now. Right. So on here you've got a definition for T. That's the bit I kind of want to keep. So I'm going to go as close to it as I can. Let me just check how much we want this to stick out. So obviously that's going to come out. So actually, yeah, now I can just square this off, can't I? So let's just trim in there. And then, yeah, I pretty much want to go up to where the writing is. I'm going to check it fits before I start doing anything this time. Okay, that is a little bit stiff, so I'm just going to take a smidge off each end. It really is a smidge because I don't want to lose the writing. Let's just give that a double check. Okay, that feels better. It's obviously a snug fit because it hasn't got a gusset or anything, has it? It's just straight like that. But that is much better. I am maybe just going to take a slight bit off the bottom. Again, I'm going to round the corners. And that's going to go in, whoops, in there like so. Wonderful. Right, so I need one more. Let's get rid of some of these. One more to go in this side. So let's have a look at this page. We might as well carry on using what we've got. Yeah, let's maybe trim down here. Okay, and I think it looks like if I trim along there, that's going to be the perfect size. Let's go that way because obviously it's straighter here. So if I trim along here, let's see. No, okay, it does go in, but it's very, very tight. So I'm just going to take a little bit more off. I'm just going to straighten this side first, though. Take a smidge off the top because we want it to fit without being too cumbersome. Okay, and then that can go in there. Wonderful. So another one where I'm just going to round the corners. Now, obviously, if you were going to use this as some kind of happy mail or a gift, if you were gifting it to somebody that you were going to meet, or if it was going to go into like a larger envelope or anything like that, then you could potentially fill this out with laces and fabrics, and you can have ribbons and things coming off your tags. If this is something that you're going to post, then obviously you don't want it too bulky. So these are things that you are going to have to consider. Now I've just noticed that I haven't actually inked around the tags, so I'm going to quickly do that. But yeah, so depending what you're making this for. Now I did say earlier that I mean, I meant Happy Mail, but I said an ephemera holder. This could essentially be an ephemera holder as well, couldn't it? So you could have all your different pockets with all your different bits of ephemera in. I know in either the kit, the add-on, or one of the freebies, Rachel's got some envelopes, again, of different sizes. There's some small ones, there's some large ones, so you could have some envelopes in here, envelopes within envelopes, again housing different bits of ephemera. So there are so many different options with projects like this, which is why I really enjoy making them. Okay, so here it is, my final finished product. So this is, like I said, a great either ephemera holder or a Happy Mail style project. So on the front, we've got this tab here which keeps this part closed. This then folds out and folds out again, and then we've got multiple pockets where we've got different journaling cards, we've got tags and another journaling card in there. So that's all in the front. And then in the back, the only thing I've added is this closure, so it's just a disc and I've just glued it along the bottom. And similar to the front, it just kind of tucks underneath, and then we've got a large journaling card in there as well. So like I said, such a nice fun little project, great for using up old envelopes if you've got them, and a lovely way to display these beautiful papers. As I said right at the beginning of the video, all of the information you need and the kits are available on the website. I will have everything linked down below. Please go and check out Rachel's video as well. As I said, we are the ones buddying up for these 2 days. And of course, go and check out all of the other creators as well. As I said, this is running between the 12th of September and the 10th of October. So we've still got plenty of videos to come, plenty more inspiration as well. Thank you so much for watching today. I really hope that you've enjoyed today's video. If you have, please consider giving it a thumbs up. It really helps out my channel. Feel free to drop me a comment. I really enjoy reading and responding to those. If you are not already a subscriber, of course, I would absolutely love for you to do so. Please also make sure that you click that bell button. That way you are notified of any new crafty videos. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I will see you all in the next crafty video. Bye for now.